Hi, my name is Dalia Deverdanos, and I'm your host today at Sacred Mindshift Circle. And today I'm joined by Kyaron, and she is a multidimensional communicator and artist who bridges her artwork with consciousness and inner awakening. Through her paintings, she expresses deep spiritual themes that invite people to reconnect with their authentic essence. Besides this, she's especially known for her connection to the divine feminine and her work around what she calls the inner dragon. As a self-described dragon mother, Kyaron guides others in remembering their strength, intuition, and inner fire. Welcome, Kyaron.
Hello, thank you, Dalia. So good to
So,
be here.
yeah, and I was so excited and happy. I know we had a bit of like issues trying to get the podcast to come into fruition, but here we are. So tell me a little bit more about yourself. Let's have a nice formal introduction. I've seen some of your artwork. I think it's actually very beautiful. I'll be showing some of them also later in the podcast. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how did you begin to I guess enter into this field of like the whole awakening process and how we basically view spirituality. I know you're not spiritual, but the concept of it.
Yeah. Well, I called myself spiritual for a long time, so it's not wrong. That's just saying it's just changed recently, where I realized that the real awakening, after the awakening, comes when you understand that you are spirit having a human experience and that it is about being human and not being spiritual. So that changed, I think, around 1.5 years ago. Um, but anyways, my human is German and Spanish Mexican. I was born in Germany and then raised in Spain and Germany both. And then I lived most of my life in the Canary Islands, but I was always traveling around a lot. And since I'm little, I knew that I was here on a mission. And I also, in the beginning, from what I can remember, I never understood what I was doing in the family that I was, and I always told my dad, my mom, and my dad. I said, I don't. I'm not from here. You're not my real parents. My home is there. And then I was pointing to the stars. And I had a lot of experiences since I'm very small with ships and abductions and all sorts of things. Um, but my mom was very Catholic. And so I started to shut down more and more, but in secret, I was always reading magic books and books about aliens. I was literally really obsessed about extraterrestrials and magic and all of these things. And then I went really deep into the matrix, really deep. I was the typical girl that didn't go out without makeup, without high heels. And my goal was just to have a job where I can make a lot of money and the boyfriend and all of that. So I went really deep into the matrix, partying and like what most of people um, consider to be the normal life. And then how did I come out of there? It started with 15, where I had an operation and where I died for the first time. And after this short death that I had, which was almost 3 minutes without oxygen, I didn't remember who I was. So when I woke up, I looked at the mirror and I didn't know that the person that was looking at at the mirror was me. And I was like just thinking, oh, that's a beautiful girl, until I realized that that's me. And it was the first time where I experienced this dissolution fully of my identity. And this is when it started, um, where I changed a little bit, a lot, my friends around. And then the next time where it went into a little bit deeper, um, where I started to remember again, was it was like a remembering and then forgetting again, remembering and then forgetting again. And I feel that a lot of those star seeds needed to be going through these phases in order for us to go to the places and do the things that we needed to do and experience. So the second true awakening, I would say, where I continued, like I went into the spiritual journey and the healing journey, was yeah, it's hard to say, but because I was really always awoke, but maybe when, yeah, my second death, which was after a cancer. I had thyroid cancer. I was 28, and after that, I started to really think about what am I doing with my life. And I think this is the question that is the most important question for you to start to make your own decisions, because a lot of people think that awakening is like you're awake and then everything is joyful and you don't have any problems anymore. But that's not awakening. Awakening is starting to understand that you have been living a life that was not necessarily what your soul is calling you to do. So when you start to make your own questions and find the answers that you have inside and not that society or anyone outside of you dictates. So after my cancer was when I started to make those questions, and when I started to change things in my life. But still, even after that very, very intense experience, I went again into fully forgetting, and then a deep, deep heartbreak, like really like the biggest heartbreak, and such a strong backstabbing from a person that I really loved, that brought me into like, I don't want to live anymore and I don't want to be here. And I was actually looking for ways on how to get the fuck out of here. And in that moment, when I had like this, was very desperate, and I was like sitting on my couch, a voice told me, this is not you. I was having like those suicidal thoughts, and a voice told me, this is not you. And it told me, stand up and go to the books. And I went to the bookshelf and I took out a book that I was having with me through all of my travels for many years. I bought it in London, and it was The Power of Now. And it said, read it. So I started reading, and what he was experiencing in the book in the first pages is exactly what I was experiencing in that moment. So I read this book in a heartbeat, and this is, I feel, when I truly started to understand and everything started to click about what was going on in my life, and where I realized, okay, so if that's not me, who am I? And that was the question that really brought me into experiencing more of who I truly am.
Well, that's a very fascinating account, especially that you had two NDEs that actually were what helped you to basically also, start this spiritual journey. Tell me a little bit more also now about your concept of consciousness. Now that you were able to, I guess, remove all concepts of like the ego and the matrix version of what or who you were. Tell me, what is your opinion of like consciousness?
Well, it's not so much that I have removed the ego. I don't think that the ego or the identity is something that can be removed. That's actually something that we need to learn how to integrate, and just not simply identify fully with it. That's the point. So consciousness is something that cannot be tamed, that cannot be named, and that cannot be caged. So it's nothing specific. It's where everything arises in. So it's like a dream. It's like the substance of a dream. So when you dream, you cannot say I'm this and that. and that dream, because that dream is nothing, it's fluid. So consciousness for me is the the easiest way to express or to experience love, unconditional love. So for me, consciousness is love.
Okay, and yeah, and I guess that would make sense that you say that it's almost like a dream. And I've heard a lot of people also speak on this reality as that, like it's as if we're just in a dream and then eventually we'll wake up. And so tell me also, you speak about the cosmic womb. Tell me a little bit about what is the cosmic womb for those that don't understand what it is, and the feminine divine.
Mm-hmm. So again, I don't experience the cosmic womb like as a physical place, although for our mind, it's, we always kind of give it some sort of imagery. It is more like a listening field. It's the field that I was talking about, where it's like an intelligent emptiness from where everything arises from. Yeah, so it's like the place where consciousness gathers itself before becoming form. And to me, it is the cosmic mother, the cosmic mother father principle, which I like to call Abun. It's an Aramaic word, and actually one of the first words in the Aramaic prayer of the Lord's Prayer, which is the, like, can be translated like the breath where everything arises from. So when I connected with the dragon for the first time, with the cosmic mother, I saw that the first exhale from this consciousness, from this pure love consciousness, was when the dragon beings were created. Yeah, rose into matter. So the closest I came to this experience of the cosmic womb was when I gave birth. So motherhood made that kind of more real for me, and then it's the first time where I actually connected to womb in general. I never even thought about my womb before becoming pregnant. So it is more so an energy that you attune yourself with through presence, and when you start to get to come into coherence with who you are. Yeah, so for me, it's like it's where things are felt into existence before they're named. So it's like something that you cannot name, really.
And you have a guide that helps others to find their inner dragon. How does it work? Like if someone is just now, trying to, look inward, how would you help them to find that?
What do you mean? I didn't get the first.
How would you help them to find their inner dragon? You have a guide.
Oh, the guide. You mean
Hmm.
the guide that I created? Yeah. So for me, dragons is like the truest self that you are, your most creative self, your most original self, and it is your whole self. So when you do not reject your dark sides, or the sides that you consider maybe not to be so spiritual, not to be so okay, but when you start to be able to take all of this darkness and transmute it in a way that is not hurting anyone. And this is where creativity comes in, because what helped me truly to be able to open up to all that I am, to my inner dragon, is having tools where I can transform this and alchemize this easier, which is dance, which is art in general, music. So the dragon mother that I say that I am is because for me it's not something that I call myself or literal thing that I decided to be. It's more like an archetype that that is because I help people cross these thresholds from one way of being to the other. So dragons for me are these guardians of those thresholds. They are guardians of the fire, of wisdom, of the earth. And they come into your field when you are about to change into a completely new version of yourself. So this is the connection with your inner dragon. And what you can do to connect is, first of all, I have a guide where you can go into yourself, and simply, often it's as easy as having the intention to connect with that aspect of you. And they come in mostly to bring you into creativity, into connecting with your creativity. So to me, a dragon or being a dragon mother is because I help birth those beings that are connected to their truest self, to their dragon self, to their inner fire. And I help guide them to use this force, this primordial force, which is very, very strong, and tame it and be able to use it in a way that is productive and not harmful. So and also when I was pregnant, my daughter told me that she comes in as a dragon already. So normally those parts of us start to emerge. This is the awakening with the years, where we start to remember who we truly are. But she came already with all of that active. So she said, I'm a golden dragon, and I needed to prepare quite a bit. Not only physically, but also emotionally and energetically, to be able to hold the frequency. And the birth needed to be in a specific way, to hold the portal so that all of her consciousness can come through and into this plane. So what can you do to connect with your dragon is having like a moment of stillness with yourself and honesty with yourself on what parts of you are you neglecting and are you judging, because most of the time those are this is where the gold lies. And this energy is that when you use it and when you allow it to come back to you, this is the soul retrieval, then it's when your true gifts and your true power can start to emerge. But a lot of people are still afraid of that and don't believe enough in themselves that to call themselves an artist. But really, we are all artists. And when you connect with your dragon, then this side of you will start to emerge. And this is actually your connection to the creator in you. Creativity is, or the dragon to me, is the connection with your inner child, with the creator in you, and with your truest essence.
And when you said, especially that your daughter told you, I know they say a lot of the younger souls that are coming in now, that they have special purposes now in this world. She told you she was a golden dragon. This was while you were pregnant. You got this like a download or what?
Yeah, even before, like I was pregnant, I didn't expect to be pregnant, because after my cancer I was told that I was infertile. So it was a huge surprise the moment I got pregnant after with 38, and never anything happened. But I knew the moment that I got pregnant, I knew that I was pregnant, because I saw two golden balls coming into my field. So I had like a conscious conception. And after that, I already had some contact with two souls before that. So I was able to, one time I was driving, and those two spirit babies told me that it's time for me to become a mother. And that time I was like, okay, I'm going crazy. Like, what is this? I cannot be a mother. But they were preparing me for like around 1 year before. So when it happened, I was like, okay, fuck, I'm pregnant. Like, I know that I'm pregnant. And she started to communicate with me very, very clearly since then. And I feel that everyone has this capability, and often we receive communication from the souls that want to come through us, but we don't give it the importance, or maybe we think it's something
The
else. But they,
dream or
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But they
yeah.
communicate through various different ways, through music, through messages, through from other people. But I had really clear, like telepathic communications, not the download. I could literally speak to her, and she very clearly told me how everything needs to happen, how she needs to be birthed at home, and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually I have three children. I dreamt every single time I was pregnant. My first child had a miscarriage before her. I dreamt that was going to happen also. But when she was coming in, I do remember it, like similar to what you said. I was in this weird room, and it was like there were these doors, and it was so weird because it was like as if like you're in space. And it was like someone was giving permission by opening the door, and somehow it was like in the dream I understood that that meant that like the soul could come in to
Mm-hmm.
this, you know what I mean? It was like very weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely do believe in things like that, and I've had those kinds of experience. And the same thing like you, I really wanted to have a water birth at home. At that time I was still in Barcelona, and it didn't work out because in the end she never turned around and I had to have a C-section in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy that you were able to do that and have a home birth, and that everything turned out well. So that's always something that I always advocate for. So and so now that I wanted to ask you a little bit more because I also want to talk about your art before I talk about anything else. So I've seen a lot of the paintings. I think they're very nice. They're very beautiful. And I want you to tell me, how do you like, was this something that you also started doing after your experiences awakening and your NDEs? Like, was it something that was cathartic to release, like you said, your creativity? Is that how it started, or were you always like creative and painting?
No, not at all. I was told in school that I should never paint again because I'm not talented. So after that, hearing that from my teacher, I never painted. I thought I was not a painter, so never thought about painting or art or anything like that. But again, I had one of those moments on my couch, this famous couch, where I really had a beautiful life. I had a first sea line apartment, a good boyfriend, I was earning good money. I was living in Tenerife, but I still was feeling like this emptiness that I felt along all my life, like a deep longing of something or someone, and I couldn't really grasp what it was that I was missing so deeply, and why am I feeling so alone, and what am I missing? And it sometimes it was such a deep feeling of desperation, of emptiness inside, that I couldn't cope with it. And I had one of those moments, and I said, "Is this really my life? Like, why can I not be happy even if I have everything supposedly what I should have? So what is wrong with me?" And in that moment, my dad called, and my dad is autistic, so he normally never calls, and told me that he had a dream about me giving art classes to his favorite painters and to learning how to paint from the heart. And so this clicked inside of me, and then I started painting. But it was after another experience that I had, where a part of my consciousness, I would say, of my multidimensional consciousness, connected with me, which is Kyaron. So after this awakening that I told you, reading the book, is when Kyaron started to come in. So she started to tell me like about my mission. I received the logo, and she started to give me all of those visions of what's going to happen. And I was like, that's crazy. I would never paint. Like, what? And then I saw myself speaking in front of a lot of people and all of these things. And at that time, I was so deep in the matrix that I was like, okay, I'm really going nuts. Like, what is happening? But then the light language started to come as well through Kyaron, and it was not something that I chose, or it was not something that I learned. It was really, I heard a video. I was sun tanning on my terrace, and then I wanted to put on music, and this video started playing automatically on my phone. It was Judy Satori doing light language, and her light language sounds a little bit like really like this, really like really weird. And when I heard this, my whole body had a reaction, and I was like, oh my God, I finally am on the frequency. And I recognized it, and this activated me. So I started speaking. I couldn't help it. It was like something that was just coming out and out and out. And then I started, after 2 years or so, I started signing it and writing it and painting it, just writing it and doing like the symbols. And at that time, you have to think it was 15 years ago. Nobody was doing light language, like maybe 3 people online. And so everyone around me thought I lost it. Like, I had friends telling me like I need to go to the psychiatry, like there's something, like I lost it. But I still couldn't help it, and I was sending all the activations and stuff to everyone around me. And then I started to find the others that are doing it, and I started to go into a community where others were doing it, but it was not public like now. And yeah, so one thing led to the other. But after I call it, people call it walk-in. I don't see it as a walk-in. I kind of see it more like a part of me that was not me got out, or like disappeared, and more of me could come into my body. So, and after this experience is where everything started where I started to paint. And this was another aspect of me, which is Eleia. So the different multidimensional aspects for me are like, you are living right now in various dimensions, and you can connect with those aspects of you, and also with the knowledge and the talents that those aspects hold. And this is a little bit what happened. So I connected then with Eleia, and this is what I started painting like crazy from one day to the other. In the beginning, it was a little bit like a child, and I allowed myself to be messy and just to paint for the sake of painting, without any faint thought that I'm going to be a painter or I need to do it perfect. It was just the stories and my inner child having fun. And this was the first time where the rainbow dragon connected with me. And then I just had fun, painting without thinking. And it turned out to be a 1 year where I literally just painted, almost just painting. And it was not just painting, but I started, because my art is like I created the base, and then from those bases where I worked with the waters, with the element, with fire, it was just all intuitive. The beings started to emerge. So I don't paint wanting to paint what I paint. I see those beings and everything coming out of the canvas, and I just outlined them. And this is the new art, or multidimensional art, that is alive, where beings come out of the canvas. And I started to dive into this world and meeting other aspects of me, and them coming through the portal and meeting my soul family, and everyone that is seeing the painting. If you feel called to one of my paintings are literal portals. So you co-create with me as an aspect of me this painting, and we had this agreement that you see my painting at this exact time for you to receive the codes in order to find your way back home. And bring back all of your parts that were stuck in other dimensions and space-time continuums, bring them back here, because we cannot ascend or move back to where we are originally. We are here to collect the fallen or the denser aspects that are stuck in certain space-time continuums. That's why I am here. So it's like collecting, bringing my parts that are also me from my soul, oversoul aspect, and an oversoul are various, a lot of different souls in one. And this is what my art does. And so I started to go on this deep journey, and then I surrendered to being completely crazy. I thought at that time, okay, so I completely lost it, and I just accepted that I'm completely nuts. And I'm just gonna go with it and experience this fully. And I had so much fun. And this is when all of my gifts activated, I close and open portals with my body. I started signing and singing and painting light language much easier, and everything turned out to be like, okay, this is just me. This is nothing that I channel. This is nothing that is external to me. This is simply my truest essence expressing however it wants to express in that moment. So yeah, it's been a ride, and my art is changing as well with my consciousness and with what is being asked. So, but those magic maps are like my beginning, and I feel really, really closely like they're like my babies. And actually, next week is the first time where I'm going to share publicly how I do them, because now is the time for others as well to start activating those new cells in your eyes, which is what my maps do, so that you start to see beyond just the first layer and start to see the energetics behind art in general, the consciousness behind art. And I'm going to start to share how I do it, so that you can also paint your own magic map home and start to experience those things. And I'm excited and nervous at the same time.
Well, that's absolutely like fascinating. And I like the way you explain it, because it really gives an idea of how you are putting all of your essence into your artwork, so that, like you said, I do feel it's energetic. So when people observe it, when people admire it, it's as if they're also participating in that energy. But I really
Yes.
want to talk to you about living off the grid. And I know that you live with your daughter off the grid now, or you're like semi off the grid, or it's your desire to live off the grid. Tell me why, and what do you hope for the future with you and your daughter living further out from all of the bombardments of like city life?
I couldn't live in the city anymore. I'm too sensitive for it. I live in a beautiful house in the mountains of Spain. We're not completely off the grid. I have electricity, I have water, and I live in a little small village. But the exposure to Wi-Fi and noise and all of that wouldn't allow me to do the work that I do. And I'm also autistic and have ADHD. So when I'm in the city, I'm overwhelmed with too much information. So why I feel that this is the way to go, not necessarily off grid, but the world is so big, and every one of us would have space if we would use all the space that she's giving us, right? But we're like just so densified in the cities and in the places. And I feel that the future is asking us to move into areas again, into more rural areas, but in communities that are based on purity and the realization that there is no separation between me and you, or the ones that are living around. And this is when this realization starts to click and it is embodied, then is, I feel, when the communities can really start to work without taking on the patriarchal ways of being. And I feel that this is happening now, and that with what is coming in the year 2026, many people will start to go away from the cities and search for other ways of being. And this is where also my part of my mission is to bring the tribe together and to start to create those communities around the world and support each other.
Okay, well, yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think that that's also something that I have always felt the same, that like now it's really hard for me to live again. I'm from New York. So imagine I grew up in New York, but like you could never find me again in a city. I left Barcelona as well. I went to live like in Saint, a very small town, and now I'm in France and it's also very it's a little bit bigger, but not that big, not that noisy. So you mentioned a little about light language, and a lot of people don't really know what it is. I mean, from at least like I'm Catholic. I consider myself Catholic. I, although do speak in tongues, which is not a Catholic thing, it's more of like a Christian thing. And a lot of people I think when they say that they speak in tongues, it's kind of similar, just to give people an idea, where you just kind of speak without thinking, like you're not overthinking it. And it's kind of like your heart is talking in the moment. I don't know if it's the same as light language, but you could tell me a little bit more about it. Is it similar, or what is light language?
Okay. Thank you for this question, because I feel that it was put into a box again, and of something that it is not. So to me, light language is not, first of all, channeling some aliens or channeling some external beings. That is absolutely not what, for me, light language is. I like to call it sound alchemy, or the language of the heart. So what Christians call speaking in tongues is basically the same. Is when you connect with the language of your heart that goes beyond the conceptualization of the mind. And I want to mention here that every one of us, everyone is already doing light language. Just whatever word comes out of your mouth is creating reality. And light language is simply a purer way of communicating what energetically what is from your heart. So when you have this connection established, that is your womb to your heart to your throat, when this connection is established, then the transmission is very, very pure and of a very, very high frequency. And then whatever sounds come out of your mouth are your unique way of, for healing, for creating, for manifesting. Light language literally for me saved my life. It's like a day-to-day thing for me. And light language, the term has been just so mistaken, and in this new age community, they've been misusing it a lot. So now everyone is like putting light language with like this, making fun of it, when really it is an ancient technology that we have been using for eons in other dimensions to use sound and the geometry of our body. Because light language is not just speaking or singing, it's also every mudra that you make, praying. This is already light language. So we're doing light language every day by doing these different mudras. Yeah, this is light language. You're signaling through your body geometry without speaking. You're signaling something, right? So the other person understands whatever they need to understand at that moment. So for somebody here in Europe, this might be signifying everything is okay. But for somebody in India, maybe if they grew up differently, this might be signifying you motherfucker. You never know. So the beautiful thing about the heart's language is that it bypasses the mind, and that everyone receives whatever they need to receive from this transmission, this energetic transmission. And it is always, like with everything, about the intention. Even when you speak in English or in whatever language, you can say, I love you, with the intention coming it from your heart, I love you. Or you can say, I love you, but really your intention is you don't really love that person, and you hate that person. So the energetics you're sending out, even though you say I love you, are not aligned in integrity with your heart. So this is what the person receives, even though you're saying I love you. It's the same with light language. So many people that are doing light language right now are doing it from their mind, or even worse, are channeling some interdimensional beings and they don't have any idea what they're doing. So this as well, like a lot of other concepts, has been twisted and used as well for the contrary. So I really recommend you just connecting again back with your heart, with your intention, and then even humming or an or whatever is already light language. Everything that is sound, that is a sound coming out of your mouth from your heart, is light language. When you sing to your child, this is light language. So sound alchemy is a much better word. It's using your sound, your body, dancing to alchemize energies.
Okay, so thank you so much for like explaining it, because I think also it's true what you say. Um, a lot of people have some also been doing it as if it's like a trend, and it's not exactly this. It's something much deeper than that. Another question I wanted to ask you, if there is one truth you wish people trusted more deeply within themselves during this time of awakening, because, we're in 2026 and there is a massive shift happening. A lot of people are finally realizing what's going on in this world. What is one thing you wish people trusted more deeply within themselves?
That your body is the technology that already knows and that is already doing whatever is necessary without you having to do anything else. So your body already knows when something is aligned. We just have to forgotten a little bit how to trust the signals that we're constantly receiving. So before any belief, before any explanation, before any fear that can come rise up, which is this auto commentary voice that right now is very strong in many of us, saying all of those things, that you're not worthy, and that is putting all the fears in your mind. I really want you to know, if you're listening to this episode, that this is not you. It has nothing to do with you. This is the slave self, this false, inverted and distorted personality that you have identified with for a long time, and before it is about to crumble, it turns the volume up. So whenever this voice come, I just want you to be aware that this is not you. And the better you get at identifying this voice and starting to observe it as something separate from you, the more you will start to be able to, when it comes, just observe it without hooking onto it and identifying with it, which is what we do. And when we start to suffer, this voice will never go away completely, but how you deal with it will drastically change and is changing. So what I really would love people to connect with deeper is their inner knowing and their body signal. So your body is all the time telling you where to go and what to do. Trust this first impulse. So when somebody invites you to a place and you are doubtful if to go or not, it's a no. Your body is constantly telling you. So trust what you know and ask yourself always the question, for whatever comes up now in the reality this year, is what do I want to believe in this? Or is that not something that I want to believe and I would prefer another thing? Because even the conspiracy theories may be implanted for us to believe in them or to cause even more fear. So now more than ever is important to really get in touch with what is it that you decide for the world, because everything arises from you and you are much more important than you think in all of this awakening of humanity. So every one of us has to trust in their own vision and in their own decisions right now, and trust that whatever you decide, it is fine. You cannot make any mistakes. We believe that we have the control of everything, and that is a lot of times what causes this desperation and this fear. But when you start to realize that you can loosen up a little bit the wheels on the steering wheel, that you are not the one controlling it, but that there's a bigger force controlling it, and that when you are in times where all of the fears and the distrust is too much for you, you can just simply take all of that and hand it over to this bigger force, whatever you want to call it, and say, I just hand it over and I know that everything is fine. And my message for you is the work is already done. We are safe. Everything that is going to happen is just because it is crumbling, it needs to come up in order to be transmuted. And you are doing the work automatically, no matter what. Everything is aligned. Just sometimes we don't listen to the signals the first time, but it will come back around and come back around until you jump on the bus. So you cannot miss it and you cannot go wrong. So here I just want you to really relax. This is the best thing you can do. The more relaxed you are, the better you will receive the messages. And here, how do you relax? Go as much as you can to nature. Connect with trees. Trees are the biggest guides now for this transition. Touch base with your feet on the earth every day. Connect with her. The moment you hug a tree, you're ultimately syncing with the heartbeat of the earth and with the transition that she's going through. This is crucial for what's to come, and bath in living waters, because the waters are what holds this coast for the new to come. Easy things, and breath work is super, super important as well. And that's it. Nothing more to do. The healing time is over, because the healing is still linked to an identity that you have identified with, which you are not. And we're moving into realizing that we are not something fixed, but we are constantly in constant change. So the better you get better at letting go of what you think you were, the easier the transition will be.
That's like very, very informative. And I think it's correct. I like what you expressed before, because I do feel that when you start to get these looping thoughts or these thoughts, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes those thoughts are not from you. I mean, I go into other directions of the whole matrix of phenomena. But yeah, people, if they really realize that a lot of times you go into certain environments, you're around certain energies, you're getting downloads without realizing it, but those are not your thoughts. Those are not coming from you. And I liked also what you explained, how sometimes we get those intuitions, we get those, discerning ideas like, oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. But we have the two things telling us, the head, the rational side, and then your instinct. And like you said, I have also learned that if I have a doubt, why, obviously it's for a reason, because it's something that my body read that I maybe haven't processed, but my body recognized that wasn't kosher or wasn't correct or wasn't, you know what I mean? So I really do believe that as well. And you speak about going out into living waters and grounding, more or less, like going out into nature and with the trees. You also do dancing, right? Is there like you do dancing? I've seen a couple of your videos, and this you were talking about also in those videos, that it's a way of remembering, or that your body and the rhythm, especially for women. Can you explain about it?
Yes. So we're going into a time where we are going to be connecting more with art as the medicine of the future. So in ancient times, this is something that I remembered, we used to create by dancing. So every one of us has a specific geometry. And when we interlock them, specifically dancing in groups, we can literally open up a field that brings the world of the unseen into the scene, which is manifestation, right? Bringing a dream into this reality. So dancing, singing, and painting have always been so important tools in times of transition. And right now, I really encourage you to connect in any shape, way, or form, whatever suits you, to start using your hands and your body to create. So the times of healing and searching for the answers outside and doing like all of these oracle cards readings and all of this, I really do not recommend you go and take all of the wisdom and power that you have inside and just constantly putting outside. I'm not saying this is wrong, but if you constantly are looking for the answers outside of you and going to practitioners and spending all of your money as well on that, when in reality you would have everything that you need already there. Nature, as I said, the trees are much better oracle readers than any human right now because they cannot be interfered. And when you dance, I received all of my downloads and a lot of remembrance while dancing. You open up this, like, it is incredible. You open up a space where suddenly the downloads can come, the ideas can come, and the guidance can come. So you can literally ask a question and then take your favorite music and dance 5 to 10 minutes and then just start to write and see what comes through. It's really incredible for your business, for everything, for any guidance. Dance and then see what comes through. And well, painting is obviously as well, it's like using the canvas as a communication tool with the divine, which is what the magic map is, because the divine does not answer you in words, it answers you in metaphors, in symbolic language. This is why all the ancient languages are symbolic. The Egyptian language is symbolic, because the moment you go into fixed, caged words, this is you kind of cage a consciousness that is specific to you. So you have to decipher it and find the answers for you. So even when you go to an oracle and they tell you things, it still goes through their perception, and it is up to you to decide what do you want to do with this information. So why not just simply connect with the oracle that you are, because all of us have the same gifts. This is something that I really want to emphasize. We all have the same capabilities, the same gifts. We are all source embodied. We all have this source spark in us. You just need to believe it and open yourself up to unlock those gifts in you. And this is what multidimensional art does. And my process, which is the MAP process, I call it, multidimensional alignment or art process, combines all of that. So it combines the portal painting using the canvas as the quantum communication tool, where you create your own medicine, nobody else, and then you receive it back through the canvas, through your own divine self, which is why it is so powerful. It works on all of your bodies. And I combine dancing and the sound all in one in order to make like really, really incredible transformation. And you will start to see those kinds of therapies start to emerge more and more and more and more in the coming days. So everything simplified to the simple things, to the things that are free, that are not to be paid thousands and thousands of dollars to go into this transformation. Also, business will completely change. So this old paradigm is starting to crumble and crumble more and more and more. And the easier you let go of it, the easier the transition will be. But a lot of us are still holding on to old ways of beings, and the original earth has nothing to do with the patriarchal system that everything has been built upon here. So we're entering into a matriarchal system where the energy of God, which for me is the goddess, it's a feminine principle of creation. So mother, father, God, forming a triangle, but the principle is feminine. Everything comes from the mother. This is why we can create life. And letting go of those concepts that a lot of religions have also installed in us, that God is masculine. A lot of people are struggling with that. Or everything focusing on Jesus, right? Jesus as the savior. And yeah, I received a lot of downloads that have been quite intense for me as well, because I was also brought up in a Christian background. For example, about the Antichrist. Once I received the download that the Antichrist, anti, meaning from the word Latin, I had Latin 13 years in school, meaning before, not against. So not what is against Christ, but meaning before Christ. And then I received the download that before Christ, the Son was a woman, so it was a daughter, and that now this consciousness of what was before Christ is coming back. So before Christ was the daughter of Christ, so she, Ashira, so the feminine principle. So there's two sons, there's Jesus, and then before Jesus was the true original son which birthed him. So the Virgin, right? The Virgin Mary with this Immaculate Conception. Why Immaculate Conception? Because she was able to create by divine will, because she was holding this original blueprint of pure creation, purity from nothing. So we need to start opening up to really let go of concepts that we have hold on for a long time, and start to be open to that everything that we thought was true is completely the opposite, inverted. So what they told us is bad, like the Antichrist, the coming of the Antichrist, maybe we have the power to give it a switch. And this is what came to me when, okay, so they are putting this Antichrist as something so negative, but I have the power to switch it into a positive, so that I do not give my energy for this to be created as something negative happening now to humanity and we are fucked, but I'm going to switch it in my perception into this story. And I'm still also navigating all of this. So we're always teachers and students, and I'm also like you on this journey of remembrance. It's not that I have all the answers, so everything that I say is also to be taken however you feel like it. Some things might resonate, some not. Yeah, I don't pretend to have all of the truth, but there's things that are like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is the way it is, because it's just a full body remembrance.
Yeah, and don't worry about, because that's one thing about my platform. Like, I talk about a variety of issues, and the most important thing is that you always feel that you could express yourself from what you have received or what you have lived. And it's interesting because you're not that far off with these ideas. Maybe someone might hear and be like, what is she talking about? But if you go into Gnosticism, right, and Gnosticism or Christian mystics, then they talk about the Sophia, right? And that's the feminine energy that was before all of this, that birthed all of this. So it's not that far off. And also, like you said, when they talk about the end times and they're trying to make us feel like, oh my gosh, we're doomed. I have also done a video explaining that no, they're doomed. It's their time is over. They want you to think that it's something really, no, we are going to flourish, but they're making you put your energy into the negative way of looking at it to lower your vibration. So I do agree with that as well.
This is also a big download that came with 3i Atlas. So Sophia, everyone talking about Sophia now.
Mhm.
So I received a big download about that Sophia had a sister, which is also the Gnostics talk about her, is called Barbelo. And Barbelo is like, as if Sophia is the one that descended down to bring us the wisdom, but Barbelo is the principle that is intouchable, non-nameable, that is like from where everything arose from. So Sophia cannot stand alone without Barbelo. So it's like this combination that we need of Sophia is like this consciousness made matter, but Barbelo is the consciousness without making matter. So before even anything existed. So just to open up also to this, simply the name is already doing something in your field, Barbelo or Barbara. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. as a code.
Yeah, I know it goes really deep. And like you said, I don't have all the answers. I just say like I'm like a tourist now in this world after awakening. I just go observing and I just go like, oh my goodness, how did I not see this before? What's going on? So that's the beautiful part, I think, about also coming together with other like-minded people, other people who are also experiencing the same things, because at least we can, I guess, identify with each other and we understand more or less where we're coming from, because it can be very hard sometimes talking about these kind of things with people who still haven't experienced them, because for them it doesn't exist if they didn't actually go through it. Thank you so much, Kyaron, for coming on today and participating in the podcast. And if anyone wants any more information about Kyaron, I will leave all of her links in the description. Be sure to subscribe to SacredMindshift.com so that you never miss another important event or podcast. And thank you so much, Kiara.
Thank you, Dalia. Mwah. Love you.